Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation to be a part of this share event. Usually, we meet each other just on live, not online. So it's a little bit new, this situation for me, but not only for me, but for all of us. My presentation today will be about the world that we had and the world that is coming, and the architecture in the context of the architecture and the urban development. But I will start first with the words of Professor Loeger, that the architecture of the future depends on the understanding of the present. So I will give a short thoughts about what actually was the world that we have been living in.
Please ask again the control.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks. What happened in the past 20 years is that 20 years is that, especially here in Eastern Europe, we were in continuous transition. Our cities, our architecture, our urban environment, everything, our social life, our economy, everything was in a transition. And in the beginning of that, after the collapse of the communism, we believed, according to the Fukuyama's book, The End of the History, we believed that we know the future. And the future was very clear for us, and we were working very hard to achieve it. So the picture of the transition was very, very clear to us. It was just what the Western countries had achieved. So we started applying a lot of models of everyday life, but not only, but in the space, in the living conditions, in the urban environment. We started to apply a lot of models of shopping, for example, the big supermarkets, the shopping malls, the office buildings, and everything what we didn't have during this time. So this transition was very fast. We start our journey with again the clear mind that we know where we want to go. But what happened meanwhile is that the world haven't stopped changing. So all the graphics that you see was that for the past 30 years, actually, the world can be described with only one word. This is acceleration of everything. So the technology growth, the population growth, the number of skyscrapers growth, the number of large cities, the life expectancy, whatever. So we were expecting to go somewhere, but at the same time, this somewhere has changed all the time. So we were in continuous transition all the time. So this transition was caused by the constant loop of innovation, new technologies, which caused another economic transition, then a social transition, then they create the condition of the new innovations. And this loop is spinning and spinning and spinning. So, for example, if we see the lifespan of a normal office building, which is probably about 30, 50 years without a big renovation, and at the same time, if you compare this time with the last 10 models of the iPhone, since its beginning, we will see that how fast actually our world is changing compared to the lifespan of one normal building. So it happens at the same time in the history with our cities. So the cities 100 years ago, they were full with life and pedestrians, later on full with cars 100 years later. Now we are in a continuous sprawl, vertical and horizontal in the big cities, caused by the same graphics that I show. So this rapid development of everything actually goes to this. So the understanding of our contemporary life, it's very important to the future. it was very easy for us to predict what will happen. For example, it was very easy to going through the technologies to predict that the office like that from the 80s will go to the office of that till the 21st century. And it is because this change, this whoop in transition was a little bit more or less predictive. But what happens as a consequence is that it's not only a positive change. For example, the problems with the social inequity. It's quite big everywhere in the world. So this contrast in the cities, they're growing up every day. For example, the movie Parasites, for example, shows it very well. And it is about architecture too, how actually we can deal with this, but at the same time working on this. So we are creating a space and we're creating a world for some of the users, but at the same time we're neglecting the other users. So then what happens after a global catastrophic event? So all these graphics are taking another shape. So we are just falling very rapidly in all kind of meters. So the trade, the communication, the production, the oil price, the air traffic, everything is going down. But this is not a normal situation. I mean, this is something that usually faster and creates a lot of innovation. So as a result of this, this whoop of transition will spin faster. And what we'll see in the next couple of years is that we'll have a very rapid implementation of new innovations, very rapid implementation of new technologies, which of course will cause all this turn of new development, technological, economical, social, and so on. But what means that? That we will face also a new design, because this whoop always goes to implications in the physical realm, what actually we as an architects and urbanists are dealing with. So probably we will not see pictures like this for the next couple of years. We will not see all this overcrowded public space, but at the same time we will experience a lot of revival of the public open space. So during the years we were getting more and more closed in the shopping malls, in the metro stations, in the closed event centers, offices and hotels. But now we see that the city, the open air city space, it has a revival. So from this picture, probably we'll go more through this picture to keep social distance, but at the same time, we will more and more populate the space. We can see this on everyday life. It will bring, of course, a new type of design of the parks, a new type of design of the urban squares, a new type of design of the spaces between the building. Just 2 months after the crisis came, yesterday we received a draft from and request from one of our clients, which has a building under construction, to redesign the open space just to be more friendly to the post coronavirus world. So we'll have a lot of change in the transportation. I believe that we will get sooner the automatic transportation like this, or the micro public transport, or maybe other types like some living platforms and so on and so on. But at the same time, what we experience is not bringing back the cars by destroying the public transport. We will experience, we are experiencing now really a huge transformation through more private type of transport. But this means not only cars, but bicycles, another type of infrastructure. And this is very important because during the economic crisis that is coming, the municipalities and the cities, they will not have enough money to support the highly cost projects for public transport infrastructure, like metro stations or like tram lines, and probably they will have to invest more cleverly in infrastructure for bicycles or for other types of small private transportation units, like electrical bikes or other types. So the retail will be in a bigger transition too. We see that the malls, the closure of the shopping malls, a lot of people actually, they were predicting this in 20 years. And some of the people now and some of the specialists say that what we see, the closed shopping malls, actually this is a picture from the future, from the near future. And of course, we'll experience a lot of transformation in the retail. But this means that we will need a lot of new space in the city, for example, for storages and for the logistic spaces inside the city, not outside like today. We'll have a very rapid development of the robot industry and automatization in the production, which will bring the need of completely new type of factories. So the buildings will be so flexible that they can change the technologies and all the equipment inside every 5 years or 10 years, which will be the lifespan of the production lines. But at the same time, we need to be very cautious about all these new technologies where we apply, because the border between the future that we will build through the technologies and the, for example, the danger of some apocalyptic scenario of the world is very thin. This border is very thin, and we have to be very careful because all of these scenarios, we saw it in the movies, but they are reality, they are real. I mean, for example, the artificial intelligence or the threat of new type of regimes which will suppress the democracy, and we will go to the more totalitarian society. So what we see that the world is so connected today that not only the models of living and the models of the buildings and the models of the urban development is changing through the world. Also, the technologies are spreading so fast that we have to think with and to live with the idea that the world will be in a constant transition. So what happened today with this COVID situation will be not something which will happen just once in 100 years. Probably we will have such kind of events happen more often and more often in the next years. Today it's a virus, but probably in the next 20 years it will be a global flood or a big earthquake or a eruption of volcano and so on. So we have to be prepared with this. That's why this transitional months and years that we'll have in the next, in the near future, they will be very important for us also as professionals, because we will give the solutions for the future life, and it's at least for its special order. So thank you for that. Thank you for